I am painting a big painting in watercolors of fruit and flowers. I put out a video last week about a painting I did very similar to this that a patron had asked for, and it was the fruit and flowers, and she wanted it for a window covering. She wanted to hang the painting in the window. Okay, whatever. And then I did the small one in watercolor crayon just to see if she liked it. She liked it, but of course it wasn't big enough to cover the window. So I had started this one, and then I thought, well, I don't want to put a painting in the window because the sunlight is going to fade the painting like in nothing flat. So I had the small one printed on canvas on a size that would fit into the window, become something like a curtain or a wall hanging more in the window. And the patron took one look at that and snatched it up, and off she went today to put it in her window. So now I have this other big painting I'm working on, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do with this one? I don't know. Maybe get it printed and put it in her other window. Whatever. Anyway, what I want to show you on this is a way of lifting paint, creating shading on something in your painting. This is, I'm going to do this on the roses. You can see here, this one is done. This one is done. Okay, so what you need is you need a little piece of a paper towel, and there's two ways to do this. You can just guess at where the shading might be, and you put just water on, and you dissolve some of that paint, and you lift it off with a paper towel, or whatever you want. You can use tissue, whatever. So I'm just going to lift some paint off this, and you will see that then I have the lighter color, the lighter shade of that color. Where I lift off. You can sort of guess at it. That's what I'm doing here. Then I'm going to take some of that shade, some of that color, and paint some outlines so I have darker places also. And I think there should be more dark down here where it connects to the stem. So I'm just going to put a little extra dark on that. Maybe outline the petals. So that you have more depth to your painting, it shows more obviously the light part comes forward and the dark part recedes. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do this kind of thing is to go ahead and paint your dark parts in, and then after you paint the dark parts, you can lift off some of the color. So I'm going to put some little, this one might come out okay without lifting anything off, but we'll see. We shall see. It's not... I'm not being real careful about it. I will on the edge here. Remember all these organic shapes, they're not square, they're rounded. Everything has rounded corners. Okay, so that's kind of my outline of the flower. Then I'm going to lift a little of that paint off. It's my high-tech lifting paper here. It's a paper towel. And I'll blend some in later. Take some off right there. You can actually lift it off with a brush too. You don't have to use a paper towel. See there, I'm lifting a little bit of it off with a brush. If you use a dry brush, you can lift it off with a brush. In other words, if you have a very small place where you want to lift paint off, use a small brush to lift it off. There. Now I'm also painting around this outline, just putting a little extra water on it so it kind of blends rather than looks like a line. In other words, I'm trying to get it to not look like a line. No hard edges. Nice, smooth, blendy watercolors. All right, there. That's what I wanted to show you. So you have the two different ways to do it. You can do it, lift the paint off and then put the lines in, or put the lines in and then lift the paint off. In any case, smooth out your lines. Don't make hard edges. It's more organic. It's more natural. It's more the way things are in the real world. Although, believe me, this is a dream painting. This is not a reality painting. Okay. I finished the flowers on this painting, and now I'm kind of working on the fruit. I'll show you what the flowers turned out like. I'm real happy with the flowers. Turned out good. But as you can see, the pineapple is not done. The vase is done. I finished the watermelon, did the cantaloupe, put some shadows in, put some shadows behind, finished a couple of the apples, and some of the oranges, the papaya. Did a couple of grapes, but I haven't finished the grapes. I wanted to have red grapes and purple grapes, but I haven't quite got the colors right on the red grapes. Anyway, I just want to show you about putting shadows in. And I just want to tell you on this that you work on it step by step, and just bit by bit the watercolor gets done, the painting comes together. I have surprised myself sometimes by just, you know, okay, now I'll do this part, now I'll do this, now I'll do this, and then all of a sudden it's done, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm done, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna get some red. I want to put shadows on this apple. And of course you'll have the grapes in front casting a shadow on the apple. Because in this particular painting, and the kiwi over here is going to cast a shadow too. In this particular painting, the light is coming straight in. I don't know, maybe it's in a window or something. Or, you know, the light comes in the window. So I'm putting a darker red where I want some of the shadows to fall. And also you have this little place where the stem is. I'll put that in there too, in a darker red. And then I'm going to actually add black to it. Just, well, that's not enough black really. Okay, I should use that up here since it's not a very heavy black. Oh, it's heavy enough, isn't it? Okay. And the black will mix with that red color that I already put down and make a really dark red. And that's your shadow. Okay, so there we have awkward looking shadow. Just take a brush that just has water on it and blend it. This is where watercolor really comes into its own, when it blends like this. I just love this pot of watercolor. Just move the paint around wherever you want it. Oh, I guess you can do this with acrylics and oils also, but, well. All right, I need a little more black in the middle of where that stem is. See, it's slightly wet, so I just let it kind of blossom out there. Then, in order to get my shine on this apple, I'll put some more water on it and blend it some more. Oh, a little bit of my brush caught hold of that black, which is okay. I don't care. Whatever the watercolor does, you work with it. Now I'm kind of brushing the water around the area where I want to lift some paint out and make a shine. Make the apple shine. And I get my handy dandy little piece of paper towel and lift that paint right off. And make a little shine on that apple. Of course, if you don't like the shine, where the shine occurs, you can always paint over it again. On this one, I'll try and paint a little of that out there, and then I want this to be even lighter. So if I want it even lighter, I'm putting more water on it, And I'll use a paper towel to lift it again, lift the paint off again. I'm afraid that apple's a little square, but who cares? Now here's the drawback to the watercolor is now I have to choose something to paint over here. Because if I paint this grape or this grape, and while this is still wet, it just all bleeds together. And this is what you do not want to occur. So I might paint a grape smack in the middle over there. Let's see, is this dry? No, that's not dry. That's dry. We'll paint that one. Which one did I say? I didn't say. Okay, we'll paint this one. So I had a kind of a pale color on there. Then I put red on top of that. I'm going to blend that in. Then I'm going to put some kind of purplish. I'm going to add some of that in there. That purple. Funny looking grape there. And just keep blending it till it gets smooth, till it becomes a grape that has a reflection on it there. There it is. Now it's smooth and it has reflection. So I put the little whatever they are, the texture on the cantaloupe. I still have to do the bananas, the pineapple, the kiwi, the rest of the grapes, the mangoes, and the background. Still have to do the background. So there's still quite a bit to do. I'll take you along with me. Still working on this one. I finished the grapes and the mangoes, and the oranges and the kiwi and the bananas. I haven't finished the pineapple yet. Finished all the flowers. So all I have left to do on it is the pineapple and the background. We'll get to work on that now. I'll finish that pineapple. I wish I had a real pineapple to look at. I'll have a picture of a pineapple. And then finished all the fruit down here, and I started putting the mat in there. Now I've only done the bottom part of that mat, and I haven't put the shadows in. There would be little shadows underneath the fruit. Even though the light is coming from the front of the picture, it's a little bit above, so there will be shadows on the fruit, and that'll kind of ground them like they're actually, make them look like they're actually sitting there. And then I have to finish the background on the top part of it. Almost done. I've added a little shadow beneath each of the fruits that's sitting on that pad, that kind of reed-like pad. And so I just have to put the reed pad on the top. I'm actually doing the pad with watercolor crayon. I like the look of it. I added a few little highlights like to the stem of the red grapes and the purple grapes and a few more shadows here and there. The grayish mat that's behind the fruit and flowers is kind of draped there. Like, so I'm painting in, I already painted in the bottom. I'm painting in the top part, and I'm doing this using a watercolor crayon. And I was using a straight edge to make my lines, but in these very small spaces, forget it. I don't even care if the lines are straight. It's kind of a, what can you say? It's kind of a floppy mat. So you don't have to have all perfectly straight lines. But anyway, in the larger spaces, I'll go ahead and use the straight edge. A challenge is to keep that straight edge clean enough that it doesn't have crayon marks on it that then get on your greenery or whatever else you got. So you can brush them off. Okay, anyway, I'm going to show you how I paint those in. Just take some water and go over the crayon lines you made. And there you have your grayish mat. I left a little bit of white in between those lovely pink petals of the flower. Because it would be there in real life. A little bit of white on those pinky, almost white petals. Obviously, when you put water on the watercolor crayon, it dissolves. But I don't want to completely dissolve it because I want a hint of those lines in there. I want to show just a hint of that. Maybe the lines won't show in all the places. Maybe it'll dissolve in many places. But that's okay too. It's one of the joys of watercolor is you let it flow. And how it turns out is sometimes a surprise. And I don't care. I don't care if it's a surprise. I'm not into controlling every detail. Of course, then there's the times it didn't work too, but you know, you put up with those to get the times that it does work. Oils and oil paints and pastels and acrylics are a lot easier to control than watercolor. Watercolor is like putting glaze on pottery. You never know what you're going to get out of the kiln. Did you see how it makes a nice little background? And it's very kind of neutral against all the bright colors of the flowers and fruit. Which is why I did it. I'm not going to worry too much about these little teeny white spaces. I'm just going to put a little gray in them. That'll be good enough. I might come back over it with a crayon after it's dry and put some lines in there. I have lots of these tiny white spaces at this point amongst these little flowers. That's okay. You don't want to let water puddle in a particular place, because then the crayon completely dissolves and you lose all your little lines. And it also makes a funny looking mark on the paper. So try not to leave puddles of water on the paper. There you go. That's how I'm doing this little background. And I'm going to make the lines on this less distinct than the lines on the bottom of the painting. You can see the lines on the bottom of the painting, because the ones on the bottom of the painting would be closer to the viewer, where the ones distant, the ones behind the flowers, are more distant, even though it's the same material. And there you go. I finished the painting. I finished the mat behind the flowers. And that's all I'm going to do. I'll show you a picture of it right side up. Don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.